Jackery is a really great product. It's a power bank. It's a power station. It's not a solar generator. People call it a generator. It's not a generator. It doesn't generate anything. It stores energy. This is my Jackery. This is a Jackery 500. This is where the solar goes in. It's an 8mm connector, 2 DCs, 1 12-volt, very useful, 3 USBs, and 1 AC. That turns on the AC when you need it. That turns on USB. And if you're going to use 12-volt or DC, you turn that on. This is really great because it tells you what's going on inside. It has a flashlight, useful. There's really nothing else available. I think Jackery is a really great product. So I only power up my Jackery with solar. I have my solar panel on my roof, and I bring the line through. You've seen that a million times on my videos. I do not use Jackery solar panels, though. From what I know is, unless they've changed, they are not waterproof, and they're very expensive. A lot more expensive than a Renogy. So I have a Renogy on my roof. So I had to get an adapter cord, and the link is in my video descriptions. It uses an 8mm plug. This is my cord, and it uses MC4 connectors, which Renogy uses. So I think it was like $15. I'm Minivan Lee. I live full-time in my minivan. I like to spend time in cities. Right now, I'm out on federal land, free, undeveloped federal land. There's not many people out here at this point, but soon more nomads will be coming in. I'm sort of alone out here, but it is great solitude, and I'm enjoying myself. Going on my walk. You're coming with me. Oh yeah, let's go walk. This is like the skin of the swirl, the bones of the swirl, the flesh of the swirl. Ouch. The skin of the swirl. The leaves of the swirl are the spines. Creosote bush. When I'm out boondocking, I like to put up my tent. This is a $24 Walmart tent, but it serves me well. And you know what? A lot of people say, oh, get one of those ones that just automatically go up. This doesn't take long at all. It takes me maybe 5 minutes to put it up for $24. And I like it because if anything happens to it, it's easy to replace. But yeah, it goes up fine. And I do enjoy this. What I can do with this is put things in it to kind of relieve some of the space inside my minivan. But I don't keep like expensive things in here. That way if I had to leave and go into town, what's in here, if somebody got into it, it's okay. But yeah, I just keep things that I wouldn't mind losing if I had to. So let's see what I do keep inside of it. This is the bag for it. This is what it folds up to. And it's not very wide either. I mean, it's not very thick. So it fits easily, you know, in my van in the back area that I call my my closet back there. So let's see what I have in my tent. I have my steamer, an extra paper towels, my pan, empty water bottles that I will refill when I go into quartzite. It's only a quarter to fill them. Extra bottles, my garbage, my gamma bucket and lid, and water. A couple things of soda. But there's not much in here. But I like to keep it open area if I need to stick anything in for the time being. Bottom bin, the big bin, I stick in here in the evening, all night while I'm sleeping. It just gets it out of my way, inside my rig. And there's things in there that if it did get stolen, it wouldn't be a huge loss. Before I go to sleep, I also put in my tent my chair, my table, my stool. I don't leave anything lay out here except my tarp. I recommend carrying a tent with you. It doesn't take up that much space. They're not that expensive. Well, believe me, you could go to REI and spend $500 on a tent or more. But I choose to do the $24 from Walmart. It is a 3-person dome tent. Easy. Again, easy peasy. I also carry a tarp with me. And when I'm out boondocking, I put that tarp out. This actually is doubled. It's folded over, so this is actually a huge, huge tarp. But I put it here. It makes for a nice, sort of like a rug, sort of a base that I can step on when I'm getting in and out of my minivan. And this folds up real small too when I'm in the city and I'm not boondocking. Another use for this tarp is if I am going to clean things out and bring all the bins and drawers and maybe clean out my back, I get this tarp out and I lay it down in the city or boondocking, and I lay it out. That way I can put all of my items on top of it. Makes it useful. It's a useful thing. One of you asked me about BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, and how to find it. That is a good question. I used to ask that all the time too, and I still do. Where is all this BLM land? Well, there's an app. It's called Public Lands, and it will help guide you to where all the BLM land is. What you'll see is a color-coded map, and I believe BLM is kind of a golden orange color. It's mostly out west. A lot of it is in Nevada, Arizona, in Utah. There's in California. Yeah, it's all over. One telltale sign, once you start getting in an area where it's orange and you drive there, you'll start seeing clusters of RVs and trailers and Class A, B, and C's and minivans and things like that. Yeah, scamps. You'll find them. They'll be kind of scattered around and they'll be parked. That's usually BLM land. Now, once you pull into that area, you can stop and approach a rig, just kind of yell and say, hey, you know, anybody there? Do you care if I ask you a few questions? And you can ask them questions. They don't mind. This community is very happy to answer questions and be helpful.
You'll also see trails, like almost like little roads and paths that people have taken their rigs to go in deeper into land, where you can park. Usually it's 15 days. Usually it's 14 days that you can park there. You just have to find the app and start looking around. You have to ask a lot of questions, and you have to be very observant. For example, when I drove from Las Vegas and I drove to Parker, there were all kinds of spots on 95 that you could see. There were little pullouts, and there'd be clusters of RVs, and that's BLM land. And then if you see that, you could pull over, look on your map, look on the app, the BLM, the public land app, and see, So it's going to be a trial and error thing for you. A lot of people used to find out a lot about it during the RTR that happened the third and fourth week of January every year. This year, I doubt if there's going to be an RTR because of COVID, so oops. So yeah, BLM, and that was a good question, and I'm still learning myself. Yeah. Okay, I have another question from Jean Goodyear. How many miles is 10,000 steps? That's another good question. I found on the internet that approximately 2,000 steps is 1 mile. So that would be 5 miles. But when I do 10,000 steps on my pedometer, it says I did like 8.5 miles. So I think it is an approximate. But I think 10,000 steps is a good number of steps. Good question, Jean. I want to welcome all of you who came to my channel from Caravan Carolyn's YouTube channel. And I want to implore all of you from my channel to go check out her, Caravan Carolyn. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for coming. And I did reach 5,000 subscribers. Thank you all. I love you all. So I hope you stay with me, all of you from Caravan Carolyn, and we can all be really good friends. A couple of you yesterday alerted me to finding my video, my last video. It had 10 commercials on it. Ugh, sorry about that. I was getting really sketchy cell service. So going on, and I have to set my ads, the commercials, the ads, I have to set that on my laptop. I can't do it on my iPhone. So on my iPhone, I have to use my iPhone hotspot for my laptop. And I was getting such sketchy internet that cell service that I let YouTube set my ads, and they put 10 on there. Thank you for alerting me. That's way too many. 4 is fine for a half-hour video. So thank you, and I changed that. So I apologize, and I don't want that to ever happen again. That's just too many. Susan Robertson asked me, aren't you afraid to be out there by yourself? No, it's kind of nice having some solitude out here just for a little while. I'll start missing everybody pretty soon. I have a friend that's coming down on Saturday. She's going to spend a day here. And then I have another friend who's coming tomorrow. He may actually camp out here for a while, so we'll see. I don't know if he's going to camp off by himself or he's going to camp close to me, but yeah. Am I afraid? No. And you said you're so brave. I don't know if I'm brave or not. Maybe I am. I'm brave. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I am brave. I always say everybody's a genius. I'm a genius, and you're a genius too. I think with experience comes bravery. You're just doing it. I do tell that story about when I first got my minivan. It was parked out in my backyard, close to my back door, and I slept in it one night. I was scared half to death, and that was in my yard. So it just gets easier and easier. I know some people have said one of the pitfalls they found of living the nomad life is that they don't get really deep sleep. They're constantly listening for noise. Oh, you know what? When I was living in my house by myself, I was always listening for noise. Because there's so many areas people can get into a house. They can break through a window. They can, break through the door. And the house is bigger. So, yeah. In my minivan, I do not listen for noise. I sleep so soundly. If there would be a noise, I will wake up. But I don't lose sleep over it. So, yeah. So I guess maybe I am brave, but I mean, I'm not afraid. This morning when I was out walking, I didn't have time to film it, but a coyote was running through. The sun was coming up. The coyote wanted to get back to its den, I'm sure, before the sun really came up. I heard dogs barking. I thought, what are they barking at? They're looking at me way off? Because I was way off. And I saw it. And I'm not even afraid of the coyotes. I'm not afraid of them. And I said if there's anything that I might be afraid of is coming across a rattlesnake, maybe. But I don't think, especially in the morning, I'm not going to come across a rattlesnake. They're cold-blooded. They need to be, down in their holes down there. In the springtime, I think it'll be rattlesnake season. If you know different, let me know. That I do need to research. I realize that. But that would be the only thing as to maybe get bit and I'm out by myself and there's no way that I can get, to a doctor or something like that. But that's in God's hand anyway. So yeah, I'm not really too afraid of things. I talked about the Jackery and then my solar. That solar panel on top of my minivan is serving me so well. I love it. I absolutely love it. Isn't this a beautiful view? One thing that boggles my mind is when I see a huge rig, a huge pullout. I mean, they're expensive. And they're running generators. They're so noisy and they actually smell. I would never park next to somebody using a generator because it's noisy. And it does puts fumes into the air and it smells. But what boggles my mind is that they actually are using one. I mean, think about this, that they've got this huge, very expensive rig. I mean, it's expensive to own a Class A and a big pullout. I mean, the maintenance, the insurance, the gas, tires alone are over $2,000-$3,000 to put on tires. And then they're running generators instead of solar. I mean, I scratch my head like, why don't you have solar up? At least when you're in Arizona. The sun shines in Arizona 98% of the year. You have instant power. But I don't know. If you have a big rig, let me know, because I really don't understand why somebody would not have solar when they own such a large, expensive rig, because solar really isn't that expensive. So. I want to thank everybody also for all of the dog tips, the dog encounter tips. There's quite a variety of things that people had to say. Some said use the bear spray, don't use the bear spray, all kinds of things. One of you did tell a story about, I believe it was your sister who was in town, and she was walking and these two large dogs came up to her and they were wagging their tails. But as it progressed, they started becoming aggressive and she began to struggle with them. there was a couple that drove by and actually rolled down the window and asked her if she was okay with her dogs. And she let them know no, she was having a hard time, so they got out and helped get the dogs off of her and away from her. They waited. She went on with her walk, and the dogs started following again. So she went in their car and got a ride to where she was going back to her house. So, yeah, I mean, even sometimes if the dogs seem, friendly, you just never know how it's going to turn out. And I think that's where my mind was at. So thank you all for your tips and your stories. Now that I'm boondocking, I don't have grass like I did in a park to do a lot of my stretching and my exercising. So while I've been out here, I discovered a couple different ways to get some of my exercising in, and I want to show that to you. So
this one is for your triceps. It works very well. Gals and guys. There you go. So do a couple sets of those every other day. It'll take care of this. Now another one too are the where you bring it back and come up, but you usually do that on a bench because you want your arm to go. I couldn't do it on the floor because it would hit the floor. So I'm going to show you what I figured out with this. Got my weights. You could see why that was useful, because you need to have an area when you're on a workout bench. You got your head at the end so that your hands can go down. Yeah. I don't like to do this because I don't have any way to, my arm wants to go around. I like to have it more of a vertical because I don't want to hurt my elbows and my shoulder. And of course, standing out here, I can do my weights out here on my tarp. And then what I can do is out here, I can do my leg exercises. And I can do on my tarp and do what I would normally do in the grass. The only problem with being out here and laying down, it's too rocky. You would really hurt yourself. There's too many rocks everywhere. So I'm going to show you in the van that I can do my, as long as I've got my bins moved out, I can do my yoga, my stretching in there. Let's go see. So here, I've got this open area that I can do my stretching and I can do my yoga. And I can actually lay down. I have enough room I would move these pillows. But I have enough room that I can actually do my exercising in here, as long as I've got like my bins out and put some other things away. So I like to keep my muscle mass up. It's going to help with your joints, because if you lose muscle around your joints, they're going to start flopping around. That's what muscles are for. It's to keep your bones and your joints and everything in place and keep you strong. Because if you pick up something and it's really heavy and you don't have the muscles for it, you can pull something, or you can pull a ligament, a tendon, yeah. So it's important for me to keep exercising part of my daily activity. And I'm glad that I discovered some of these things. I was always, the first couple of days I was looking around like, how can I do this? How can I do this? Because I'm so used to doing it in a park on grass. But I discovered it and I wanted to share it with you.